What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another review. This time I am checking out the brand new Netflix movie, Havoc. It is a movie that just got released a couple of days ago. So going forward, no spoilers. I'm not going to talk about anything of the movie. So if you are interested in it, you are safe to continue with this review. This movie stars Tom Hardy, who is this dirty cop, dirty detective, and after a drug deal goes wrong, he ends up having to fight through this criminal underworld where he's having to save this politician's son. And that ends up unraveling some corruption, conspiracies throughout the entire city. And I'm going to be honest with y'all guys. I kind of read that synopsis off IMDb and kind of played that shit in my head. And I'm like, did that actually happen in the movie? I don't really know. This is a movie that you will most likely instantly forget in a couple of days. I watched this movie the day that it came out on Netflix, and I seriously had trouble remembering what it was even about the next day. And reading the synopsis, it made me even wonder, like, I don't think any of that shit actually happened in the movie. Like, was there this huge conspiracy theory that was going on? By all means, it sounds pretty good and worth watching, right? But I don't really think that ever happened in the movie. And this just kind of proves my point that this is not that great of a movie. I think you go to this movie for one of two things. One, you're a huge Tom Hardy fan. The second, you are a huge Gareth Evans fan. Now you're sitting there and you're kind of thinking to yourself, who the fuck is Gareth Evans? Well, let me tell you guys, if you are not familiar with his game, he's the guy that directed The Raid and The Raid 2, two of those Indonesian kung fu fighting movies that are so fucking good. I remember watching that for Kung Fu in Review years ago. Obviously, you're going to have to read subtitles the whole time, but as far as an action movie, kung fu fighting, those are two phenomenal action movies. So going into this, when I hear that Gareth Evans is directing Havoc with Tom Hardy, and it is going to be an action movie, I was pretty damn excited about this. Like, the action sequences are pretty dang good. I won't say great, because I think they do get a little monotonous at a certain point. I think those action sequences kind of go on a little too long, that it feels kind of samey. Like, they didn't put a ton of thought into the choreography of those set pieces. So they do get a little monotonous at the back end. There's a one shootout towards the end of the movie, no spoilers, but it goes on for so long. And it's just like, okay, I'm really just, all I'm seeing here are just people getting mowed down by guns. That's really all this is. There's no like real depth to any of these action set pieces. That's a problem when you market this as an action movie and you have this director that directed two phenomenal action movies. Overall, I thought it was entertaining enough to at least give this movie a watch. I think there are worse movies out there for sure. I think Tom Hardy does a Tom Hardy-like performance. I mean, I don't think he's really different here than he is in any of his other movies. He's basically just a bad cop, and he brings that Tom Hardy-esque personality to that role. Once you get outside of the action set pieces, which I said were okay to good. I won't say they're amazing by any means. There's a club sequence that is actually pretty good. But once you get outside of the set pieces with all the action and you get into the moments with the characters, them conversing with each other, them trying to push the story forward, that's really where this movie struggles for me. And I couldn't tell you anything about any of these characters. I couldn't tell you their motivations. Like, I legitimately just could not tell you anything about the plot and all that, because it's very flimsy, it's very superficial. So while the action can be decent at times, the character development, the story, all that kind of sucks. I do like the world that this movie kind of sets place in. It's almost kind of like I don't want to say like a post-apocalyptic world, because it's not. It's almost kind of like a crime-ridden, run-down Boston. I got like RoboCop vibes, kind of like a futuristic, almost kind of like a cyberpunk-esque feel to the city here. And so I dig the aesthetic of the world that they were building here. And I think in better hands, this could have been something that could have been fleshed out a little bit more. If they would have done better with the action here and made those scenes not feel monotonous, I think I could have gotten over the character development and all that and just taken this movie for what it is. And it's just a straight up action movie. And I think it would have been entertaining. But when the action isn't there and you don't give me the characters, I really can't grab on to the world that you're building there because I don't care about it. I don't even care about the characters in that world. So I think this movie had a lot of potential, but it just fails to meet that level of expectation that I would have with a Gareth Evans led movie, especially with Tom Hardy thrown in the mix, which, by the way, there's just a certain look to an action movie that I feel like I have in the back of my head when Tom Hardy's there. And when Tom Hardy is fighting like an anime character throughout the movie, I'm like, I don't know if he was cast right for this, honestly. I like him in the role. He's fine in the movie, but when it comes to some of the action scenes, he starts fighting really fast, and Tom Hardy's kind of a bigger guy. He doesn't move that fast. And that's another little thing that you could throw to the action scenes. It does feel very anime-like. It is not practical, looks CGI, entertaining, but doesn't look real whatsoever. And it's just like Tom Hardy just doesn't belong in this movie. It just looks weird when you see Tom Hardy fighting like an anime character at times. But don't get me wrong, guys. I'm shitting on the action a little bit here. But if you're into like over the top, gruesome action, lots of gunfights, all that kind of stuff, then you might find something here that is quite enjoyable. I'm not going to tell you to not watch this movie because I think it is decent enough to watch. It's just, the reasons that you go to this movie, they're not as good as they could be because, again, you're going to this movie for the action and it's just a little lackluster, a little monotonous as you push forward through the movie. And I want to say this, I would spend some money to watch the behind the scenes on this movie because I just mentioned that a lot of it's gunfights and stuff like that. So a lot of people are getting killed in this movie. I would love to see the post-production work of them adding in the bullets here because obviously it's going to all be in CGI. But when you look at some of these people, they're overacting all of this and it's kind of comical actually, but it looks like a 90s movie and it does have a 90s feel for sure, which I do appreciate. But it's just like all of these people look like they're having seizures on scene. Like I would love to see the behind the scenes, them filming this without any of the post-production work. I would kill to see that because I feel like that would be hilarious. But ultimately, guys, I feel like if you are sitting there and you don't have anything else to watch, you've watched all the new releases out there and you don't really have a whole lot of better things to do with your time, then you could do worse than watching Havoc on Netflix. But go into it with very low expectations because you're not going to get the character work. The motivations of Walker, who is Tom Hardy in this movie, is just paper thin. And all those motivations get kind of thrown in at the last minute. And it's really hard to connect with his character because they just do a terrible job of developing him. His development is really abysmal throughout the entire movie. So you never really feel attached to that character or care about him whatsoever. It's not a very well-made film, but I won't sit here and say that I was bored throughout the entire movie. So just keep that in the back of your mind if you decide you want to watch this. But guys, let me know down in the comments below if you have seen Havoc. What do you feel about it? And then while you're down there, go and hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. We would greatly appreciate that. And that's going to be it for me. I'll catch y'all next time on another episode. Laters.